Hi, Lisa. Welcome. It is lovely to see you. Lovely to see your smiling face.
You as well. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
Before we start, before moving to the questions, let me shortly introduce you. You are a successful professional woman working in the United States. Right now, you work for Unilever. You are Unilever's global learning manager responsible for North America. But before that, you work in the field of marketing and consultancy as well. So you have a diverse range of work experiences. And to be honest, in our call today, I would like to benefit from your experiences and
Sure.
you.
Fantastic.
So my first question to you is, um, what is your definition of what is your definition of diversity? How do you see
Yeah.
diversity?
Yeah. I see diversity as meaning different, differences, things that are different from a cultural standpoint, ethnic standpoint, gender differences, religious differences, differences in faith or beliefs, values. It could be a different financial differences, frankly, create a sense of diversity from a very fundamental level. As a Black woman, diversity to me means Black and white, but it goes beyond that. And it's really broad thinking about anything that's different. So that's where gender differences come in, at not only cultural differences, but economic differences, differences in faith, belief, that sort of thing.
Mm. Beautiful definition. I love it. Thank you. Lisa, I would like to ask you some questions about in order to understand the situation in the United States. And for me, the United States is the most diverse country in the world. Okay, not only for me, for many people. And you have even pronominal examples at power situations like Barack Obama or like Kamala Harris recently. Do you genuinely believe that has induced real change in business or in the society? If not, what is it which is not working?
Yeah, you've caught me 5 blocks away from Barack Obama's house here right now. I'm in Chicago at my place in Hyde Park, and his house is literally just 5 blocks away, and University of Chicago, where he also went to school. So I have a soft spot for Chicago as a place. This is where I'm from, and Michelle Obama's also from here too. So we were all really excited when he got into office and anticipated, expected, hoped for some change. He stood on a platform of change, hope. And I remembered the feeling when he won that election. My friends, my family, everyone, we cried and we were just exuberant, really excited and happy about it. We expected things to change. I can't say that I can point out things that impacted me directly as a result of him being in office. Brilliant leader. He represented us all very well. We were so proud and happy and pleased to have him there. But I saw him as a person doing his role as the president, not as someone that was representing or doing things that were directly impacting me as a Black woman. So I didn't see change culturally. And I thought I would have, just because we've got a Black person at the top of the country. I thought that was going to then open up opportunities. I can't pinpoint anything as a result of that. I don't expect to see a change with Kamala Harris coming into office at all. If anything, I see the whole Biden-Harris party, the two of them and the things that they've been doing that probably are haloing off of other things happening in the world right now. I see that they're coming together and coming into office as something that we will see more change, less about her, the vice president, being a Black female, but I think it's the two of them together. He's then still haloing off of the work he did under Barack Obama, but it's the perfect storm right now. They're coming into their roles at the right time for the world, where there is more change that's going, or willingness, openness for some change that they'll benefit from. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I expect to see more.
Mm-hmm. So you're hopeful that, we may see some change.
Yeah, definitely hopeful that I'll see change. And as I said, for them, it's the perfect storm, if you will, because of everything else that's changing, post George Floyd that happened here in the US. We're seeing so much change in other ways, in other places as a result of that. So I think they will benefit from that. They'll just be shadowing and continue lagging, over what's already happening and in place right now. It'll make for a perfect opportunity for them to do more.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So to be honest, my next question was about the death of George Floyd. I mean, the effect of COVID-19 on diversity and inclusion, because when pandemic started last year, there was fear, there is still, that in the long run, the pandemic will mainly affect the minority groups and the weakest within society. And then there was the death of George Floyd, which gave a huge impetus to the Black Lives Matter movement in the United States and beyond. So what do you observe? What has changed over the last months?
Yeah, the George Floyd situation was the tipping point. That was the catalyst that just unlocked and opened up everything. So in comparison to your question about Barack Obama, for example, going into office and the lack of change there, and he had 8 years to do it. And then we have Biden and Harris coming in post George Floyd. There will be even more change because of that. The George Floyd situation was one that it opened up emotions, feelings, pain, anger, violence that happened at a point where we were going through so much pain with the pandemic. And because everyone's locked in their homes and we have nothing much to do but watch what's happening in the news, take flight, get involved, act on it, that set up the perfect environment, I believe, for people to actually notice it, get out and do something. So the George Floyd situation, just the opposite of Barack Obama, for example, being in office, just erupted. Lots came out of that around the world. And for me, I would say 3 things that I saw. Number one was the awareness of diversity, inclusion, and the differences. That's the first thing that came out big, loud and clear around the world, awareness. Second was a sense of compassion, understanding, wanting to act, wanting to do something, and coming from non-Black people that weren't necessarily the way looking like George Floyd. It came from the masses, which was really incredible. And then the third was opportunity. The opportunities that I had hoped were going to come from Barack getting into office that didn't come, just flooded in. For me, for my friends, for everyone, my colleagues, in terms of people's awareness of the differences, people's awareness that there's inequity and something needed to be done, and then people taking action. And it was beyond just an understanding that we weren't including Blacks and Browns. So it wasn't just inclusion, let's just, okay, yeah, we're not including them and move on. It was include non-inclusion and act on it. Mm-hmm. So on so many different levels, the world just opened up to Blacks and Browns, minorities, diversity in so many ways. At my company, for example, there were trainings, there were sessions, workshops, on diversity and inclusion and cultural awareness, biases, tons and tons of workshops, and they're still going on right now. That then laid a ground or opened up, if you will, an opportunity for conversations that I've never had in a corporate setting. They were emotional, and I can feel them right now as I'm even talking about it. I had moments with colleagues where I had to turn off my camera. I couldn't even, have the conversation without getting emotional with them, and feeling something that I'd never talked to coworkers before, especially ones that are non-Black. So the conversations were there, the awareness was there, the action happened after George Floyd. As I mentioned, the trainings, okay, yeah, but it was a yes and. It was more than just that. For me personally, I felt that people listened more to me. I felt that people were more accepting to my point of view. I felt that I was getting praised more, supported more. I was given different work opportunities, internal and external to my company, which I saw lots of people leave my company that were people of color. They were hired by other companies with larger, more salary, better paying jobs. So it opened up more work opportunities, which was phenomenal. What I will say, back to your question about the onset of the pandemic from a diversity standpoint, pre-George Floyd, it was very clear and evident, all the data was showing that there was an over-indexing of COVID-19 and fatalities, unfortunately, among minorities, particularly African Americans and Hispanics. And I remembered having a conversation with a colleague, actually a senior leader, about it. This again was pre-George Floyd, thinking I should be doing something. What can I do? And what can our company do? We're a food manufacturing company. What can we do to help people with their diets? And what can I do personally to improve how I'm eating? And I'll never forget, the leader said to me, oh, we as a company are already doing things. And I said, oh, really, what? Well, we're already supporting, diversity in the whatever association that we're involved in. I'm on the board of that, and every year they have a golf tournament or something like that. And I remember feeling like, that's not enough. Really? I was new in my role, and I just kind of let it pass. I said, okay, why don't I let it pass? I remember also at that time, pre-George Floyd, having a conversation with a colleague, a Black woman, who felt that she was being overlooked for opportunities, and that the Blacks in the company needed more help in their career development. Oh yeah, okay, so sorry. Got it. A little just disruption here.
It's okay.
Okay. That they were felt that people were being overlooked for promotions, and they wanted some special coaching, special training just for the people of color in the company. So we laid out a program and put some costing, some numbers around it. And I presented it to someone on my team that would approve it. And it was not approved, it was denied. They said, oh, no, we don't need that. There was no case for it. No one could see it. And no one believed that there was any value or need for it. Then when George Floyd case happened, tons of money was given to the people of color to help develop, build, recruit, retain, grow the people. I believe that people needed something to happen. It was the tipping point, something significant, major, that triggered an emotion, that triggered a reality at the right time during this stay-home situation where there's not much else to do and watch and participate in. And then for people to get up take action, get involved, and start making some change. Mm-hmm. So that's it for me.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I'm listening to you with not only with my ears, but with my heart as well. And I am so happy to hear that, significant change is happening right now in the States, in your organization, and I'm sure in other organizations as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So is there anything that you would like to share with me? So what is happening in other big organizations? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, but my understanding is what's happening elsewhere in the bigger organizations are similar to the things that we're seeing at our company. And I'm hopeful that it will continue, that this just isn't the flavor of the day, or this wasn't the 2020 answer or response, but it needs to go on beyond here. Mm-hmm. So I hope that the awareness will continue to be there. The conversations will continue to be had, that the programs will be in place to help not only people of color, but go back to that definition of diversity at the top of this call that we were discussing. It's not just African American, it's Hispanic, it's Asian, it's women, it's people with disabilities, anyone that is different, if you will, a little bit from the norm. So how do we make them feel accepted, that it's okay, that they're not different, if you will? So yeah, just a continuation of doing what we're doing now, not just for today, but for the long run.
Is there anything else that you believe organizations, business life, or should pay bigger attention going forward?
Oh, yeah. So from a community standpoint, really at the root of what this is all about, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of unpacking what's going on, what's really there and what's happening, from an environmental standpoint, from the communities that we live in, housing, education, diet, eating habits. So the food that people are eating in the communities, and even myself included, put myself on that list as well. And the breakdown in families, just kind of how to hold households together and families together. Definitely some work needs to be done there as well. So there's a cornucopia of things that need to be looked at, but it's really, really working at the community level and digging and diagnosing what are some of the root causes, what's really going on, and how to take on some of the bigger issues beyond just what my company is doing for the Black employees that work there, but a huge, larger group of people in communities dealing with health issues, dealing with financial issues, dealing with health coverage, medical coverage issues, education. So it just goes on, and to try and to peel those things apart and take them on, solve for, to really bring up that imbalance to even close to equitable.
You're right. And I believe that, within organizations, I know that as an executive coach, I work with organizations, and organizations pay maximum attention to this topic. But maybe the question is, what can we do to make our employees, maybe get aware of this diversity and inclusion, or to create diverse and inclusive environments within our organizations? But what can we do to take this awareness in the organization to the community, to the streets, and, take a stand when we witness anything, exclusive, anything unequal, what is our standing point?
Agreed. And I'm encouraged by the outpouring that we saw post the George Floyd situation, and hope that it will continue in terms of people feeling like they need to do something, they need to act. Mm-hmm. I've spoken personally to several people who've said, I've now found my calling. I found what I want to work on. I found my purpose, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it's something around helping others, lifting people of color, minorities, helping them out of the situation that they're in, coaching, mentoring, sponsoring, giving back, helping them get them into job interviews, or helping them interview, helping them get into college. So I believe it's that, again, going back to that emotional hit, the feeling that people felt after George Floyd, very different from a elected official that's Black in a role. That's okay, great. But when it's something that's really deep, something that's visceral, something you feel, hopefully there's more people that it'll continue with them post this situation with George Floyd, and then the people will take on some of those tasks, some of those charges, some of those issues that we were just talking about.
Okay, Lisa, our time is up. Thank you so much for your great insight, your time. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Oya, for your work and for doing this. Appreciate your time and your work and your passion behind this.
Thank you. Stay safe and healthy. Bye.
Thanks, you too.